Hi, in today's video, we'll be discussing about embolism. I am Dr. Zubair, Associate Professor in Department of Pathology. Our learning objectives are to define embolism, describe etiopathogenesis and types of embolism, and describe the consequences and complications of embolism. How do we define embolism? It's the process of partial or complete obstruction of some part of the cardiovascular system by any mass carried in the circulation. What is this any mass? We will see in the next slide. What is an embolus? It is a transported intravascular mass detached from the site of origin, and almost all emboli represent some part of dislodged thrombi, which is referred to as thromboembolism. So, when I said any mass, this any mass can be of different types, and depending on the matter in the emboli, it can be solid, which is detached thrombi, atheromatous material, tumor cell clumps, tissue fragments, parasites, bacterial clumps, foreign bodies. Liquid, including fat globules, amniotic fluid, bone marrow, gas, that includes air and nitrogen. And depending on whether it's infected or not, it can be bland or sterile, septic or infected. And on the source of emboli, it can be cardiac emboli, arterial emboli, venous emboli, and lymphatic emboli. What is a paradoxical embolus? It is an emboli which travels from venous to arterial circulation via communication between arterial and venous circulation bypassing the lung. This means it is through arteriovenous communication such as patent foramen ovale, atrial septal defect, ventricular septal defect, AV shunts in the lung. What is a retrograde embolus? A retrograde embolus travels against the flow of blood, such as metastatic deposits in the spine from cancer of prostate. So these are the important types of embolism and their common origins. We will be discussing them one by one. What is pulmonary thromboembolism? It is the most common and fatal form of venous thromboemboli, occlusion of pulmonary arterial tree by thromboemboli. So here there is occlusion of the pulmonary arterial tree by the thromboemboli, and this is the incidence 20 to 25 per 1 lakh patients hospitalized, and origins from deep veins of the lower leg, from deep vein thrombosis involving popliteal, femoral, iliac veins, thrombi in varicosities of veins of leg and pelvis, and veins of periprostatic, periovarian, and uterine system. So these are the steps. There is a thromboembolus here, and then this moves along the venous drainage into the right side of the heart and occludes the pulmonary artery and its branches. And if it is large, it can impact across the bifurcation of the main pulmonary artery. This is called as a saddle embolus. Again, another view of the saddle embolus. And this is a view of a pulmonary embolus within the pulmonary artery. We can make out the artery here with the emboli. Complications and consequences depends on the size of occluded vessel, number of emboli, and cardiovascular status of the patient, and this can lead to sudden death, right heart failure, pulmonary infarctions, pulmonary hemorrhage, resolution, and pulmonary hypertension. So all these are the complications of a pulmonary embolus. Okay, this is a case of pulmonary infarction because of the pulmonary embolus. Systemic thromboembolism is emboli traveling within the arterial circulation. These thrombi are in the diseased heart, left ventricle, and from a wide variety of diseases like MI, cardiomyopathy, rheumatic heart disease, congenital heart disease, thrombi in the aortic aneurysm, atherosclerotic plaques, arterial emboli traveling to a variety of sites and causing infarction at the site of lodgement, such as lower extremities, brain, internal visceral organs. What are the consequences of systemic emboli? It depends on the collateral vascular supply in the affected tissue, tissue vulnerability to ischemia, and caliber of the vessel occluded. Fat embolism. It is obstruction of arterioles and capillaries by fat globules. Its causes can be traumatic and non-traumatic. Under traumatic, we have trauma to the bones, trauma to the soft tissues. Non-traumatic, we have extensive burns, diabetes, fatty liver, pancreatitis, sickle cell anemia, extrinsic fat or oils. Pathogenesis. There is a mechanical obstruction theory wherein the fat mechanically release is when there is a release of fat globules, it travels along the venous circulation, occludes the pulmonary microcirculation. There is another theory which is the emulsion instability theory, wherein there is disturbance in the natural emulsification of fat leading to aggregation of plasma lipids and formation of fat emboli. The third theory is the toxic injury theory, wherein the fatty acid released from the fat globules cause toxic injury to the endothelium, resulting in platelet activation and RBC aggregation. What are the consequences of fat embolism? It depends on the size and quantity of fat globules and whether or not emboli pass through the lungs to the systemic circulation. Secondly, so first there is pulmonary fat embolism because of it, and this is a case of bone marrow embolus with the hematopoietic precursors within the blood vessel of the lung. Okay, and you can demonstrate it by frozen section with oil red O staining. Systemic fat embolism can happen. When that happens in the brain, you will have petechial hemorrhages. Okay, and in the kidney you can have fat embolism leading to decrease in glomerular filtration rate, tubular damage, renal insufficiency. You can have petechial hemorrhages in the conjunctiva, and in the urine you will find fat globules, which is also seen in the sputum. You can diagnose it in the urine by using a special stain, okay, oil red O. Gas embolism, it can be because of air, nitrogen and other gases within the circulation. It's of two types, air embolism and decompression sickness. Air embolism occurs when air enters into the venous or arterial circulation, and venous air embolism is because of operations of head and neck, obstetrical operations, IV infusion of blood and fluid, angiographic procedures. That's the reason when we are even inserting a IV injection, we tap to remove the air bubbles. And the effect of venous air embolism depends upon the amount of air introduced. So more than 100 to 150 ml is fatal. Rapidity of entry and position of the patient or during or soon after the entry of air. If the position of the head is higher than the trunk, air will ascend through the inferior vena cava into the brain. Mechanism of death. Physical obstruction of pulmonary arterial trunk by air bubbles can occur, and the bubbles can coalesce to form frothy masses which can occlude the vessels. And on autopsy, you can demonstrate air embolism by creating a pouch of water. Okay, you have to a column of water you have to create and allow the air to bubble through it. Arterial air embolism is when there is entry of air into the pulmonary vein or its tributaries, and cardiothoracic surgery and trauma, thoracic operations, thoracocentesis, penetrating wounds of the lung, paradoxical air embolism, arteriographic procedures, all this can lead to entry of air into the lungs, okay, sorry, into the arteries. And the effects are blockage of cutaneous vessels leading to gangrene, occlusion of lingual artery, coronary or cerebral arterial air embolism. Decompression sickness is a special form of gas embolism when there is sudden change in atmospheric pressure. This can happen when there is sudden ascent or sudden descent. So when does sudden descent happen? It happens in scuba divers when they descend without acclimatization, and ascent is when there is uncontrolled pressure in the aircrafts. This leads to escape of nitrogen, which is dissolved in the blood, and this enters into the when it is pressurized too rapidly, this gas comes out of the solution as minute bubbles, and they can coalesce to form large emboli. And the effect of decompression depends on the depth or altitude reached, duration of exposure to altered pressure, rate of ascent or descent. It can be of acute or chronic type, and in the acute form we clinically have the bends, which is acute pain in the joints caused by acute obstruction of small blood vessels, and the chokes is due to accumulation of bubbles in the lung with edema and leading to atelectasis. Gas emboli in the brain leading to vertigo, coma and death. In the heart we can have MI, and in the chronic form we can have Tyson's disease, and this is a special disease. This Tyson refers to a pressurized vessel used in construction of base of the Brooklyn Bridge in New York, and persistence of gas embolism leads to ischemic necrosis at multiple sites of the body, especially the skeletal system. Clinically, there is avascular necrosis of the bone, and neurological symptoms can occur with paresthesia, paraplegia. In the lungs we have edema, hemorrhage, focal atelectasis, dyspnea, cough. Skin can lead to itching, erythema, cyanosis and edema. Amniotic embolism is a serious complication of labor and seen in the immediate postpartum period, affecting 1 in 50,000 deliveries, important cause of maternal mortality of 20 to 40% cases. Contents of the amniotic fluid with a tear in the placental membrane or the uterine veins enter the maternal circulation into the right heart, into the pulmonary artery, causing obstruction. And amniotic fluid, how do you diagnose it? You will find squamous cells shed from the fetal skin, lanugo hair, fat from the vernix caseosa, bile from the meconium, mucus from the fetal respiratory or GI tract. Pathologically, you will have then the lungs, hemorrhage, congestion, edema, and there will be presence of amniotic fluid in the pulmonary circulation. Clinically, patient will be having severe dyspnea with deep cyanosis, hypotensive shock, convulsions, coma, sudden death. And cause of death can be mechanical blockage of the pulmonary circulation, anaphylactoid reactions, DIC, and hemorrhagic manifestations from thrombocytopenia and afibrinogenemia. Coming to the last form, which is atheroembolism, there can be atheromatous plaques which lead to erosion, form the atherosclerotic emboli, and these are lodged in medium-sized and small arteries. They contain the cholesterol crystals, hyaline debris, and calcified emboli. If you recall in the video on thrombosis, I said one of the fate of the thrombosis, embolism. All right, this is what we are referring to. And the pathological effects of atheroembolism include ischemia, atrophy, necrosis of tissue distal to the occluded vessel, infarcts in the organs affected such as kidney, spleen, brain, heart, gangrene of the lower limbs. Okay. Miscellaneous emboli are malignant tumor cell clumps, tissue fragments, parasites, bacterial clumps, foreign bodies. So the 5 key concepts. Embolism describes the transport of abnormal intravascular masses until they impact in a blood vessel smaller in diameter than they are. Emboli are of many types. The most common are those derived from thrombus. Emboli derived from venous thrombi impact in the pulmonary circulation. Their effect depends on their size. Systemic emboli are most often derived from the left side of the heart. They impact in any systemic vascular bed and cause ischemia in any organ. Fat emboli occur more often after major trauma. They may impact in any vascular bed, but most have serious effect is in the brain and in the lungs. Thank you for your attention. Please like, subscribe and share this channel.